Hi there, you're watching the Gardens and Graveyard channel. My name is Charisma and today we're out in the garden and we're going to trim up our berries. We have raspberries and blueberries. So I only grow summer bearing or June bearing raspberries, so I'm not going to speak into how you prune ever-bearing raspberries, which is a different kind of process. But basically, all raspberries have primocanes and florocanes, and the easiest way to remember that is they have first year and second year canes. In summer-bearing raspberries, they all come on at once, or they're called June-bearing because typically you get your big crop in June. And the benefit of that is all the berries come on at once and you have an opportunity to harvest all your berries in a big lump sum and do canning, or do jams and jellies and that type of thing, which is what I prefer to do. And then I've noticed I do get a big bumper crop early in the season, but then all summer long I'm still getting like garden snacks to just give a little boost of tastiness when I'm out in the garden all summer long. So with the summer bearing, what happens is one cane will come up the first year, it'll leaf out, and it will not flower or have berries. The second year, that cane will produce fruit, and new canes will come up. Those will be first years. There will also be the third year cane that'll be completely dead. It will not do anything. It will not leaf out. It will not get berries. So those canes can just be cut all the way to the ground. I'm going to show you in a minute what they look like, because that's what we're doing today, is we're getting rid of what is technically the second year canes, which is going into its third year right now, right? So if I left them there, they'd be 3-year canes, but they'd just be dead canes. So we're going to cut out all the dead canes, and we're going to tie up the canes that will produce fruit this year, and I'll show you some of the new growth that will likely not have any fruit this year, but will produce fruit next year. My raspberries are already leafing out, so it's really easy to tell which ones are dead. They also have some fluorescence at the end that you can see from last year's berry production that tells you that those are the old canes. So we're going to do that, and then we're going to do our blueberries, and I'll explain the process of the blueberries when we get down there, because those are in a different area and it's a whole different process. So let's get into this. All right, so this is where I have my raspberries. I have one planted here and one planted at the other end. I do have some babies coming up in the middle, which is perfectly fine. Raspberries throw out roots and then pop up from underground. So I'm constantly taking them out of my walkway because I don't want them to grow there. But I do selectively let a few of these grow, because these here that are tiny on the ground, those will be next year's fruit production. These up here, what you see growing with leaves on them, those will produce fruit this year. These that are dead looking with where the berries were last year, these are the second year canes that will be removed because these are totally dead. Now these are considered the second year canes for this year, and those are considered the first year canes for this year. So what I'm going to do is just take out all of these old canes, and then we'll talk about the next step. It's the same for this one. And you can clearly see, if you have any questions, if you step it off and you look in there, there's no green ring in there. They're just dead. They're not going to produce anything. The other thing that I'm going to mention here is I have these flats that I used last year to help support my strawberries, because I had a strawberry bed underneath here. Well, now that I have the raspberries here, one, not convenient to try to step around the raspberries growing, or the strawberries growing on the ground, and 2, we also built this bed, this raised bed here, and now the strawberries just don't get quite enough sun for a long enough period of time to get me a really good fruit production. So I'm gonna pull the supports out of here. I put these down so that my strawberries can grow up over them and we don't get as much like dirty strawberries or slug damage. But this year I'm gonna grow my strawberries in a green stock. We tried growing them in this container system, which is like a Dollar Tree example of a green stock. It worked pretty good. I think it would do better with deeper pockets, so I got a green stock, and we'll get a bunch of strawberry starts, and we'll do a new strawberry project in a couple of weeks. So I'm not going to worry about my strawberries down here too much. I'm just going to pull up these supports and rake up the leaf mulch in here so that I have a nice clean space to work in. Okay, so the next thing I'm gonna do is tighten up this string, which we have this eye bolt here that just turns and turns until we can get it nice and tight. Okay, better. Okay. All right, so then the next thing I'm gonna do is I have this soft, flexible ties that I'm gonna use to bundle and tie these up. I give myself plenty of tie. I might just leave it on here. I definitely want to use my gloves because they do have thorns. Then I'm gonna just take a group of the raspberry, and there's about 10 canes right here, and we're gonna gather them all together. This one's going through the fence, weird. Let's pull it up through the, I'm gonna try to get as much on this side of the fence as I can first. Spot anyway. All right, so I'm just gonna gather these up. There's about 10 canes here, and I'm gonna tie the first tie. There's a string here and a string down about 18 inches off the ground. I'm gonna tie the first tie onto the 18 inch. And then I'll take the next ones and tie them to the top. Need a bigger loop. Don't need it to be super tight. We just need it to kind of hold them in place. Then I'm gonna take these guys that are super tall and I'm gonna bend them down like this. This one I'll just kind of weave. And then I have these other kind of ties. You could see them. That will just sort of hold them in place. Like that. And then I'm gonna do the opposite on these ones. So gather them together. And then I have a couple in the middle. All right, let me give you a little bit more of a close-up here. So we tied the first bundle onto this bottom string. Then we came up here and we tied the same bundle to the top string. Loose, it can move around and there it has room to grow. Then we bent them down. If there was more, we'd bend all of them. And then we tied it here and then started the next one, which we tied to the first, tied to the second, bent it over, and tied it here. Then this bundle, well, then we have this bundle, right? And this bundle isn't tall enough to get to the second one. But we tied it to the first so it'll keep trained. And then the next one is a different variety, and we bundled them here. And there wasn't enough to bundle up here just yet. So we'll just leave them for a little while. One was big enough to bend and tie here. Once these get a little bit taller and there's more of them up to the second tier, we'll bundle them here. And then as they keep growing, we'll bend them down this direction. So overall, if you could see it, they're hard to see, but they're all nice and tidy. The ground's all clear. We will mulch down there when we mulch the rest of the garden. All right, let's head downstairs and take care of these blueberries. I know I just did our March garden tour, but I had to show you the cherries in bloom. Isn't it so beautiful? It smells so good. It's really looking like spring around here. All right, so now we're down in the medicine garden and we're going to take care of our blueberries. I have 3 down here and we take care of all of them the same. Basically, the first thing I'm gonna do is look for the 3 Ds, dead, damaged, and diseased, and remove those. I will then do maybe a couple of heading cuts just to control a little bit of the size because they're all in containers. And other than that, there's not much more to do. I will come back and fertilize them when I have some fertilizer. I'm out of fertilizer right now, but I don't need to put acid in mine because our soil is very acidic, so they just do great without much extra. I'm careful about what kind of fertilizer I use on it. I don't want a general fertilizer because I'm not trying to produce a bunch of leaves, even though the fall color of a blueberry is beautiful. I really want to produce berries. So I want to make sure that I use like berry tone or something like that that helps produce fruit more than leaves. And then I will make sure that the bottom of the containers are debris free. One thing you have to watch for with blueberries is mummyberry, and that's generally, I think it's a fungus, but it lives in the soil and it, you know, causes airflow problems. That's the other thing I'll do, is make sure that there's not a whole lot of airflow problems. But my blueberries are going into their 4th year, so they're still pretty small, and they've been in a container the whole time. So their size control, you know, I've been size controlling them, so they're not just like huge berries. I will also look and see, sometimes there's like a cane that's old and it has some life, but not enough. And I don't want a bunch of energy going to that stem, because if it's not going to produce as much as the other stems, you know, I want to selectively prune those out. All right, let's just go ahead and get into pruning these. Oh, did I mention that clearing out the debris on the bottom of the base of the plant helps prevent mummy berry? I don't think I finished my thought on that. All right, I'm just gonna start with this one that's right behind me in this container, and then we'll go around and do these ones. Okay, so what I'm looking for here is, I'm just gonna go through and notice which ones, like this one has a little bit of a crossing branch. And this branch right here is going into the center of the plant. And I don't want any kind of in that center piece, because I want to make sure that there's plenty of airflow. And so that I'm looking for things like that. This one has some damage. Oh, this one has a little bit of damage here, so I could come in and cut it right above this bud. It's also growing inside of the plant, and it's pretty spindly, and there's a nice, good, strong cane here. So I'm just going to take this one all the way out. And then just keep looking in here, like just looking at the bottom of the plant to see what's going on. Helps. Like this one's going inside. This one's growing like weird, so trying to encourage more of a vase shape. You can see this one has a lot of, there is growth points on it, but it's really spindly, and it's got like, I don't know, it just doesn't look as healthy as the other ones. So I'm just going to take it all the way out. And this one's crossing. Just take that out. This one's growing inside. Take that out. This one is dead. No, wait, let's see. See, there's the old bark right here. But then if you follow it up, there's new growth. So we don't really want to take that out. I might take this one out because it's rubbing. Oh, no, it's fine. All right, so I'm just going to get into this and see what all needs to happen. This is another example. Like you can see how the branches are coming off in a bunch of different directions. This one's bending in this way, probably because the sun is that direction. But I want to encourage this branch to come out this way, so I'm going to cut it right here so that this branch gets all of the energy. This blueberry is Blueberry. All right, I'm gonna call that one good. This one does have a nice carpet of thyme. And it has sunk quite a bit, so probably this fall, after they're done doing their berry thing, I'll lift them up and add some more soil to the bottom of the roots. I don't want to do that right now because they're just starting to break dormancy, and I just don't want to mess with them too much. They'll be fine for this year. I'm still kind of contemplating on where their permanent home's going to be. They were in the backyard where the greenhouse is, and they had to be moved because we built the greenhouse. So they ended up down here last summer. They did fine, but I'm still kind of contemplating where they're going to live. Okay, let's do this one now. Oh, the sun is in my eyes. All right, this one is a lot smaller. It has a columbine living with it, which I'm gonna move all of my columbine this spring, just very soon, into one bed. So we just have a big, huge swath of columbine. Do the same thing here. Again, this one is a lot smaller. I'm going to turn it this way so it kind of crossing branches everywhere. What is it doing? Oh. All right, so this one is our biggest one, and will take the most work. All right, that's going to do it for today's video. Make sure that you are subscribed, you ring the bell, and you like our channel so that we can continue to grow together as a community. And I hope that you're celebrating your life. We'll see you in the next video. Bye.